All right, so now we have pre-cached our particles. Say all 500 frames from there. And another thing I add here is the camera. So cam 1, and I use as a background some footage you find on the internet. It's like you can see that we have a tornado somewhere in the background. And I have a camera looking here, so I get that I want to put this thing up a little bit. So my pop kill, go and rise up to frame 75, to the height of 75. And I guess I will recache my particles again. It doesn't take too many time, so I can save it to this kind of background and begin to work. It will calculate all pretty fast. So press OK, and we can add render scheduler to see how fast it is. Let's back to object tornado, so we can set up the view from camera to better see what's going on there. So what I want to do, I want to add the time shift node and said that I want to plus, I don't know, maybe like 140 frames. So in a frame 1 I already have, not have, so 240 maybe, yeah. It will be enough, because I don't need to create too many frames. If I have a 500, so I still have 260 frame. So my cache is not finished now, it's just 66%. But now we have the particles in the beginning of my timeline. So how many particles do I have? Yeah, something like 280,000. So my particles out, and now I'm gonna use those particles to create a source for my pyro simulation. So what I should do is add in the pyro source. So select my particles out, the pyro source. Inside of this pyro source, I will add the density field. So I will keep input those particles I'm going to use and choose the density 1 and 1. The particle scale should be the same. And another thing what I want to add here is using the attribute noise, because definitely to add some noise here. The attribute noise. Look at interesting. So what noise I want to add to my density? Density. Well, it should be 1D noise because it's a float parameter. It's float attribute actually. Go here. There's my density. So hide all parameters, density. Now it's going from 1 to 2 because I use the additive mode. So it should be animated noise. And I prefer to look on this noise after I use the volume rasterize attribute tool, because it's better to look on my volume. So I type density, and let's normalize. Now with bypass we can see the difference between the attribute noise and without it. So with the volume rasterized attributes we can play with the particle scale. So with this particle amount, maybe 2 will be better, something like this. So go to attribute noise again, and what I want to add here, using the attribute noise, I want to make a remap. So now I will apply from -1 to 1. It will create a little bit bigger difference. So now my minimum density is 0 and the maximum is 2. So I don't want to have a 0 as well. First thing I want to add here is change to maybe to Perlin noise. So now you can see it's changing the density from 0 is closer to 0 almost, to 2 again. And get back to volume rasterize. You can, not too much we can see from this. Because we have many particles, so it's not such visually representative. But I don't want to have the density closer to 0, so I will put minus 0.5. So now 0.5 is the minimum for the density. What about the noise? With the pulse duration, maybe at 2, I don't want to have such fast changing, and the element size is make like 2, and maybe element size by Y just a little bit smaller, like 0.7. Maximum octaves, I don't know, maybe 6, just in case we can enable minimum. I know that my minimum is 0.5, so it can be below 0, but just to avoid something, so sometimes it can be helpful just to make sure that it doesn't have values between less than 0 actually. And another thing I want to add here is my point velocity. So point velocity, we already have a velocity. So you can see here, we already have velocity, but I want to add a little bit noise to those guys. If you look on attribute noise and choose velocities, you can see that we have a nice vortex, nice velocities. So I just want to add a little bit of curl noise. So with the basic setup, in basic tab, I want to choose keep incoming. So I will leave those velocities. Okay, so we can copy it from deformation, but anyway, there's no deformation, so keep incoming. But I want to add to existed velocities, I want to add the curl noise. All right, so here with the curl noise, I want, it's pretty sure it should be animated, and the bigger scale, because we have a very scale, simulation, high scale simulation or big scale simulation, I will increase the scale like 5, and again a little bit bigger pixelation. Actually, that's it. I will leave it as it is. With the spool size is 1, I think that should be fine, just 1 meter. Assemble that, and don't forget to initialize your velocity here to create a velocity field. So now we have and density and velocity. Density is a float field, velocity is a vector field. Okay, so that's exactly what I want to have here. So let's can choose the particles, normalize it. All right, and this is our density. Let's choose a null object, and let's call it our density. Call. And the next step is creating the pyro simulation.